035936.
This is Scott Kaplan and Crew Tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM ESPN Radio. SoCal Sports Talk. Here's Scott Kaplan, Alex Padilla, and John Browner.
Hey, great friends. Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome back to the Kaplan and Crew show from the 7 Mile Casino Studios, 7milecasino.com. We're just coming onto the airwaves of 1090. We're just coming onto the stream of YouTube, all the audio podcast platforms, and yeah, we'll be on TV tonight. But as we broadcast today from the 7 Mile Casino Studios, I got to tell you, I had no idea that where we will begin today's show and the tenor of today's show might have all changed with what happened last night during Monday Night Football. I must tell you that I was prepared to come on the air today. And fellas, first of all, I wanted to wish everybody a happy new year, which I was looking forward to. So happy new year. But I really was looking forward to coming on the air today and talking about what an incredible week plus we've had off, particularly with football. I mean, to me, I don't know if I haven't watched the bowl season as carefully in years past because bowl games have become like glorified exhibition games. And the only games that really matter are the college football playoffs and then the national championship. But I watched more college football during the last week from the Holiday Bowl, which was spectacular, the Sun Bowl, which was incredible, the Cotton Bowl, which was amazing. And these were games that really don't mean anything. Forget about what we saw in the college football playoff between TCU and what we saw out of Michigan and then Ohio State and Georgia. I mean, I was prepared to start today's show talking about what an incredible week it had been of both college football and NFL football. And last night, I sit down with my family, and we're going to watch this Monday Night Football game because it's a huge, huge game. And it's a matchup of two of the great young quarterbacks that are battling in the AFC. And it's a game that means so much based on records, based on playoff positioning. I mean, everything you want. You talk about a playoff game. Buffalo-Cincinnati is as much a potential AFC championship game as there is. I mean, throw Kansas City in, obviously, but it's a monster game. It's a playoff game. It's Monday Night Football. We've just come off this incredible weekend of games, some of which were very meaningful, like the college football playoffs, others that were just bowl games that turned into great, great entertaining games. Little did we know what would happen on the field last night between Cincinnati and Buffalo would be the first time that most of us have ever seen this in our lives. And I'll just say this. Look, for those of you that have been longtime listeners, you know I've been on the sidelines for dozens and dozens and dozens of NFL games. I've seen guys break legs. I've seen guys pop Achilles. I've seen guys have head trauma. I've seen guys get strapped to boards and taken off the field on golf carts. I said to my kids last night, I've never seen an ambulance ever come onto the field during an NFL football game, ever. And what happened to this young man from the Buffalo Bills last night? We all got scared earlier this year when we saw Tua kind of shake and rattle and fall to the ground, head trauma. We had no idea what we were watching last night. And to deliver CPR, to revive a 24-year-old young man on the field, pull him off in an ambulance, have the two teams decide to go off the field, see the backstage where the coaches are talking to somebody on the phone. You have to assume that Roger Goodell is probably on the phone. Coach, what do you want to do? Coach, what do you think we should do? We saw something last night that went from football game to news story in the snap of a finger. I've never seen anything like it, and I got to be honest with you guys. Less than 24 hours after the fact, I'm still very emotionally moved. I'm not going to fake it. I'm not trying to get overly somber but how could you not have seen that last night and not feel a certain way today? And I'll take it just one step further, just on a very personal note. You know, this is a young guy. I don't know this young kid. I mean, listen, honestly, if he didn't get hurt last night, he may have gone completely invisible as a fan, as a viewer. But then you find out he's a Pitt kid. He's from Pittsburgh. He went to Pitt. He could have gone to Ohio State. He could have gone to Penn State. 6th round draft choice, playing because the guy in front of him is hurt and becomes one of the real impact players of the team. Like there's a brotherhood when you played at a certain place. And I felt that. And I still feel it. I'm so sad for the kid. Of course, I've got a million thoughts on my mind about football and about the schedule and about what the league may or should or shouldn't do. I got a million thoughts, but after what I saw last night, I got to say, very, very moving. So to you two gentlemen, I'll start off by saying Happy New Year. I hope you guys had a wonderful break. Little did we know this is what we'd be talking about here this afternoon. Rondé, Brown Man, how we feeling today, guys?
Yeah, Happy New Year to the great friends. Good to be back under circumstances that I think any of us were ever expecting to talk about. But I found myself not watching Monday Night Football last night. I had to watch the Laker game to record a Lakers podcast after. And once I was done with that, I was going to switch to the game. But my Twitter feed, immediately got filled with that. And I know you said that you haven't seen anything like that. I just saw something like this.
Tell me.
In 2020 at the European Championship in soccer, a player for Denmark, literally the exact same thing happened.
Oh, right. I remember that.
Same thing happened. The only difference, and the biggest difference, is that when he was taking off the field, the player for Denmark was conscious and, not really all there, but still conscious. And his teammates decided to continue the match after a long delay. But it's one of the scariest things to even think about when you see a professional player at the peak condition. This is a dude that's like a fit. This isn't a big lineman. This is a dude that is in incredible shape. And to see that collapse, and obviously we didn't see the images, which is good job by ESPN, but to read that they were performing CPR and I don't even know what that would be like watching a teammate, a brother go through that, or even an opponent. It's got to be crazy for the Bengals too. So Happy New Year. And just a weird one.
Yeah.
First of all, Happy New Year to everybody, all the listeners, to you two guys, and to anybody who hears this. Congratulations, you made another year. For the first time, I think everybody got it right. And I know that there's a tragic circumstance surrounding this, so to say everybody got it right seems kind of callous, but if you think about it, ESPN got it right. They stopped showing it, because if it was a hit, they'd have kept showing it and showing it and showing it. They stopped showing it. They cut away from the game, and the league decided not to play the game. Which, by the way, when they said that, they're going to give guys a 5-minute warm-up period, they're like, wait, guys are still crying. Like, that can't be accurate.
Yeah.
And then they showed Stephon Diggs trying to hype guys up. And I'm like, and guys are crying as he's doing that. Guys are looking off into space. I'm like, they're not going to play this game. And cooler heads prevailed, and the right thing was done, that they did not play that game. What we saw last night, it's a miracle we haven't seen that in football. Because, yes, around the world in sports, like Hank Gathers has died on a basketball court. Reggie Lewis died of a heart attack, former Celtic. He had the heart attack on the basketball court. He died later in the hospital. There has been events in guys' training camp. College players have died in training camp as well. I don't know what they call it then, but so there have been guys packed. But on Monday Night Football, to have a situation like that on the most watched program in America in a violent sport, it's a miracle this hasn't happened before. And so for that to have happened on the stage, it did happen. And for everybody to get everything right, well, almost everybody to get everything right. I mean, thankfully for this young man's family, and hopefully prayers up to him. But it's just a tragic situation.
Yeah. I know it's as a fan, when you're watching the game, you've never really seen an NFL football game get postponed. Well, you've never really seen an NFL football game. Wait, say again, Brian?
Outside of weather.
Yeah. What I mean is, you've never seen an NFL football game where a player gets hurt and they actually send the teams back to the locker room, or they say what you said, which is, hey, we're about to give it a 5-minute, break here and let the guys get re-warmed up and everything like that. the reason I think that was happening is because I'm not sure any of us at the time understood really, really, really what was going on.
Correct.
Like the players were around him and they were seeing the CPR and they were understanding. I think this is again just an observation from watching on TV, but I think the players were understanding the severity of the moment and how different this was. This was not Joe Theismann's leg getting cracked in
Mm-hmm.
half. This wasn't Dak Prescott's ankle going the opposite direction. When guys get hurt in football and bones get broken and guys are in agonizing pain, you know what they do? They come on the field, they scoop them up, they make them comfortable, and they take them off the field. And then they go on with the game. Backup quarterback, next man up. You hear that phrase all the time in football. Next man up. Dak breaks his ankle, get somebody else in there to play. Theismann breaks his leg, get the next quarterback in there. And, look, the list of crazy injuries goes on and on. But have you ever, because I know I haven't, I can't think of an example, have you ever seen a moment where an NFL football game is stopped in that capacity where they say, stop, timeout, hold on, this is going to be a much longer deal. Oh, give these guys time. They're going to warm up. Oh, wait. Now let's all take everybody back to the locker room. Because you saw the two coaches meeting, talking.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, let's
With the
get our
referees.
teams. Yeah, let's get everybody back in the locker room. They see what we couldn't see.
I think the NFL also thought like you last night. I know everybody was criticizing the 5-minute thing, and I understand that. But I think the NFL and their officials and the people that run the game are so wired to be it doesn't matter if a guy gets knocked unconscious. It doesn't matter if a guy gets put in a neck brace and stretchered off the field. The game always continues. It's always been, and
Mm-hmm.
whatever the NFL wants to say about concussions and head injuries, that's just the way it is. It's the way it's been. And yeah, you see Burrow throwing warm up passes. You see Zach Taylor had his headset back on. Like the Bengals were pretty much like, okay, well let's play this game because how many of those people that have to do with the NFL are wired that way because of what Scott just said, because of everything that we've seen on the field. We've seen guys get knocked out every week. Guys get knocked out unconscious, and it's I just don't think that the magnitude we obviously you see players crying. You see Josh Allen
Mm-hmm.
covering his mouth and his face, and you knew something was different. And then you read that they're performing CPR on the field, and it's like, how could you ever expect to get that game started when one of their players is having CPR on the field? It's just
Like for Joe Burrow to be throwing, I think there's a good chance he didn't even know the CPR was happening. He was probably just, okay, it's a delay. I'm going to throw a ball. Zach Taylor may not have known the extent that there was CPR being administered on the field. That's why he probably put his headset back on. Like the guys who were just kind of going about business as usual, they may not have seen the CPR, but the guys who were around it that saw this, you instantly saw some players literally just break down when the CPR was around the time I'm thinking that it was administered because obviously I didn't see it because that wasn't broadcasted. But you could see at one point, guys just went, "Oh no!" And it got different. Yeah. It wasn't like a leg where it's a leg or arm where you instantly just like turn away and like, ooh. No, like this was like guys were like, "Oh my god!" Like guys were breaking down.
Well, dude, it was life and death. It wasn't.
Yes.
It wasn't like, oh, he hurt his knee really bad, and geez, that might impact his playing career and his future. It was that guy on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Is being revived. Being revived, the way I think of it anyway, is being revived means he was dead. And I don't know this as a fact. I mean, I'm not a doctor here, okay? But there were so many moments where you just didn't know. And I kept thinking to myself, look, if you're the NFL and you're not telling the world anything, what, you don't think the NFL is in touch with the hospital and they're talking to whomever and they know precisely what's going on. Mm-hmm. And I kept thinking to myself, what is the league right now? What is Roger Goodell? What are the powers that be in the league office? What are they doing and talking about in this moment? Because think about it. You're talking about a kid, Alex, to your point, he's in great shape. He's 24 years old. Something happens to this kid on the field that we've never really seen before. And the first question is this game going to go on? And I know that sounds weird today, but I know that that's what people normally do. Somebody gets hurt, you put them on a cart, you take them off the field, the game goes on. This was different. When the ambulance came on the field, this whole thing was different.
I thought when they showed the way he fell, it was different. Because it wasn't like the Tua thing where he was wobbly or when his hands got all weird. The way he fell, like just straight back.
Yeah.
Like that was different. Like that didn't feel like football. That didn't feel like something that you see.
It was
in
also
a
the
football
tackle
game.
too. The tackle
Right.
was, wasn't head first. This was whoever was for the Bengals. I don't even remember.
T. Higgins.
T. Higgins. He put his head down, hits him directly in the chest, maybe touches Hamlin's chin, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just one of those like, wait, what happened here?
Yeah.
Right.
Because here's the other part of it. You know what we don't know right now? And I can't help but having a million questions. But what we don't know right now is, did he get hit in the, because I've read a lot of reports from, the doctor guys, like David Chow, for example. David Chow, Pro Football Doc, Sports Injury Central. I've read all of his articles. And what he said is it's kind of like a car accident where somebody gets hit in the chest. And there's a term for it. I'll find it.
Commotio cordis.
Commotio cordis.
I don't know if I'm saying that first word right. COMMOTIO cordis.
Yeah. So somebody gets hit in the chest, like really, really, really hard. Not like your buddy comes up to you and gives you a couple of taps in the chest. Like somebody gets hit really, really hard. And it forces it stops your heart in some way. What I didn't know then, I don't necessarily know now, I'm not sure we'll ever know this for sure. Is that what happened? Like he got hit in the chest and it was so much trauma to his chest? Because the shoulder pads, they don't come down far enough to protect your entire chest and cavity and sternum. And, shoulder pads cover your shoulders. And most guys, I mean, you look around the NFL, you see guys, they got their knees completely fully exposed. Guys aren't wearing pads the way they used to wear pads in the old days, hardly. And the pads have gotten smaller. So did the helmet hit the chest and it was so much force that it did actually stop his heart and that's what happened? Or listen, I'll tell you guys just a real brief story. I know a guy, I mentioned this before the new year. I know a guy, 52 years old, in very, very good physical condition, who went to swim from Alcatraz to San Francisco. Guy had trained for months to do it. Got in the ocean and had a heart attack. I don't know if it was because of the cold weather, the water temperature, the panic of being in the water, the panic of being around. I don't have answers. What I'm saying though is that something happened and boom, gone. Was this going to happen if this kid was walking down the street minding his own business? If he was walking down the street minding his own business, was he going to immediately go into cardiac arrest? Was this going to happen in his life? Or is this truly the result of the trauma? I don't have answers. I just have a lot of questions.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that it's one of the things like we're even speculating on it all just kind of feels not right. If it's not coming from the family, if it's not coming from the team, it's always like, am I really going to trust some insider right now?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it's just I know the Bills released another update not that long ago, but earlier today saying Damar Hamlin spent last night in intensive care unit and remains there today in critical condition at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center.
Yeah, and I know the family released a statement earlier today. We'll get into all this as the afternoon goes on. Just tragic. I'm telling you guys, because I really thought last night we're going to see a great football game. Somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose. If the Bengals win, they've just tied the record of the Bills. If the Bills win, they've just, taken kind of the lead in terms of home field advantage and however the playoff races all play out. Because, between Kansas City, Buffalo, and Cincinnati, everybody was kind of jockeying for postseason position. And the game was such a monster game. Listen, not to insult other teams, but if the game meant less, if it wasn't a giant playoff matchup, maybe not the entire world is sitting there watching that game last night. But this was the big one. This was probably the biggest and most important Monday Night Football game of the entire season, given where we are in the year, who the teams are, what their records are, et cetera, et cetera. So this was one of those games where most people who are football fans were watching this game last night. And to see all this play out the way it did was just truly crazy. And I know a lot of people get offended when people started to jump ahead, like, well, what are they going to do? Not sure. Really don't know. Don't know how.
What did they expect people to do? Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I guess my point is that you have two teams that are one game separated in the playoff race. And today's Tuesday. These teams play again their final game of the season on Sunday. The next week is the wild card round. There is no time to play this game. So I know when people are not thinking how serious the situation is, they're thinking about the football side of it. But really today, and I think when we all found out how bad it really is, I think everybody started to focus on the human side of it, less about the football side of it. So just getting going, and we are in the 7 Mile Casino Studios. Happy New Year, everybody. This is a tragic story that we're just getting started with. Stick with us, everybody. This is Kaplan and Crew.
You're watching Kaplan and Crew tonight, powered by the mightier 1090 AM, ESPN Radio, and Your View, featuring the best sports talk in SoCal. Dominating the SoCal radio airwaves for over 20 years. Join Scott Kaplan, Alex Padilla, and John Browner for Kaplan and Crew every Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. only on the mightier 1090 ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports Talk, and the mightier1090.com.
Customer service is a priority for us. We are door and window dealers and specialists in a variety of different product lines. You're going to see 16,000 feet of the largest showroom in San Diego for doors and windows. We have a magnificent space here, much larger than any other dealer in the area, which makes it very comfortable for our customers to see and feel the windows in person. What you need to know about your project, we're going to ask questions about that. We're going to ask about your lifestyle, perhaps whether you have children or pets, which direction the doors and windows are facing. Do you have a view? Is it about opening space? We want to ask these questions to best service you and provide an overall great experience. People find these things beneficial because we can address perhaps threshold conditions, screen conditions, wall depths, colors, anything else that's important to the project prior to ordering, ensuring, again, complete satisfaction in the long run.
Give us a call or visit us online at PriorityDW.com.
When someone you know has COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, things can progress very quickly, making them feel hopeless. But it doesn't have to be like this.
See, Mom, this place is going to be great for you. They're going to help you breathe better.
Pulmonary rehabilitation at La Mesa Rehab focuses on patient education and training. We use special therapies to improve your lungs, clear out mucus, and keep you out of the hospital. Pulmonary rehab is Medicare approved. Call now to see if you qualify or ask your doctor about La Mesa Rehab today.
Priority Doors and Windows off Miramar Road is San Diego's largest door and window showroom open to the public. We specialize in quality, custom, and unique doors and windows for every style of home. Priority Doors and Windows offers excellent service and selection with windows by top manufacturers like Fleetwood, La Cantina, Milgard, and more. For the highest value at competitive prices, come visit our showroom off Miramar Road. Just look for San Diego's largest flag or visit us online at PriorityDW.com.
You're watching Kaplan and Crew tonight, powered by the mightier 1090 AM, ESPN Radio, and Your View, featuring the best sports talk in SoCal.
Listen to the Mike Greenberg Show, 7 to 9 a.m. Pacific, Monday through Friday. Greeny brings his unmatched depth of sports knowledge, fun, and entertainment back to ESPN on a daily basis. The mightier 1090 ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports Talk, and the mightier1090.com. We'll be right back with more of Scott Kaplan and Crew tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM, ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports Talk.
People often ask, when should I call a lawyer after a car crash? If you're injured, then you should call 911 and seek medical attention right away. Then, assuming the crash wasn't your fault, you should call a lawyer as soon as it's safe to do so. There are several reasons why. First, it ensures that your legal rights are being protected while you focus on your health. Second, getting an investigation started immediately can be vitally important. since the physical evidence at the crash scene, surveillance video, or witnesses may not be around for long. Third, unfortunately, insurance companies may not have your best interests in mind and may try to take advantage of the situation knowing that you are not yet represented. They may try to take recorded statements or make lowball offers. Put it this way, calling a lawyer is free. The cost of not doing so could be quite expensive.
At Shelter to Soldier, being a private nonprofit, we rely on the community. Thankfully, we have sponsors like the Barnes firm that get behind us.
We understand the difficulties that many of our veterans face when they come back into civilian life. And this program just seemed like the perfect fit.
Today we're catching up with Barney. He is now in our matching phase of our program. He is meeting eligible veterans in what we call speed dating.
How's it going?
So we have just recently approved 5 new veterans for our program. So Barney will be meeting every single one of them to see if he is the perfect match for them.
Barney's perfect date would be a nice long walk on the beach, and then he would like to end the night with a nice dinner with his veteran.
We got to find the right person for the right dog.
Most people never expect to get into a crash or trip over a hazard and fall, and they certainly don't expect that it could lead to life-altering injuries. Most of us assume it's just an ache. It'll go away. I'll be fine. And luckily, usually they are right. But unfortunately, some injuries aren't obvious, and the adrenaline of the incident may mask the seriousness of your condition. Plus, when the injury is due to someone else's negligence, then you will have to prove that your injuries are from that incident and not something else. So not only is it important for your health to get checked out to rule out that anything is serious or even potentially life-threatening, it's also important to document your injuries as closely to the event as possible in a medical record. Otherwise, the insurance company will try to use that gap in treatment as proof that your injury is not related to the incident.
Customer service is a priority for us. We are door and window dealers and specialists in a variety of different product lines. You're going to see 16,000 feet of the largest showroom in San Diego for doors and windows. We have a magnificent space here, much larger than any other dealer in the area, which makes it very comfortable for our customers to see and feel the windows in person. What you need to know about your project, we're going to ask questions about that. We're going to ask about your lifestyle, perhaps whether you have children or pets, which direction the doors and windows are facing. Do you have a view? Is it about opening space? We want to ask these questions to best service you and provide an overall great experience. People find these things beneficial because we can address perhaps threshold conditions, screen conditions, wall depths, colors, anything else that's important to the project prior to ordering, ensuring, again, complete satisfaction in the long run.
Give us a call or visit us online at PriorityDW.com.
This is the #1 advice I give to my friends and family. Get the most uninsured motorist, UIM, underinsured motorist coverage that you can. Here's what happens all the time. After a car crash, you have a ton of medical bills, you're out of work, and don't know what the long-term effects of what your injuries will be. Then you find out that the driver who caused the car crash only has $15,000 in insurance. And you say, good thing I'm fully insured. You have good liability, collision, med pay, but only $15,000 in UIM. In that scenario, you and your family are not covered by your insurance at all, and you will be limited to only $15,000 in defendants available coverage. The premiums for UM and UIM are not expensive, so do yourself a favor, check what your UIM policy amounts are, and make sure at a minimum they're the same as your liability coverage.
Girl Scouts promise to make the world a better place.
I promise to help people in nursing homes by sending them nice pictures.
I promise to keep protecting dolphins and whales by doing beach cleanups.
I promise to continue inspiring my generation to take action. Thanks to my voter registration drive, more young people are ready to make their voices heard. Power her promise, power her future. Visit sdgirlscouts.org.
If you love animals, Animal Zone is for you. From rescues to animal experts, Animal Zone is fun for the whole family. Watch Animal Zone right here on YourView, Saturdays at 8:30 a.m. and visit animalzone.org to learn more about the show.
Drivers are getting in accidents at a rate we've never seen before, jumping 18% since 2020. There are higher incidents of speeding and more aggressive driving since the pandemic began. Please slow down and drive safely. It can save a life.
At Shelter to Soldier, being a private nonprofit, we rely on the community. Thankfully, we have sponsors like the Barnes firm that get behind us.
We understand the difficulties that many of our veterans face when they come back into civilian life. And this program just seemed like the perfect fit.
Today we're catching up with Barney. He is now in our matching phase of our program. He is meeting eligible veterans in what we call speed dating.
How's it going?
So we have just recently approved 5 new veterans for our program. So Barney will be meeting every single one of them to see if he is the perfect match for them.
Barney's perfect date would be a nice long walk on the beach, and then he would like to end the night with a nice dinner with his veteran.
We got to find the right person for the right dog.
From fitness to medical technology, explore how people are leading healthier lives on Your Health. Join Erica Cardenas as she introduces you to health experts and discover how our daily choices affect her well-being. Plus, learn simple tips for healthier living. Your Health, Sunday at 4:30 p.m. on YourView and YourView.com. Brought to you by La Mesa Rehab, improving the lives of those with all types of lung disease and long COVID symptoms.
Customer service is a priority for us. We are door and window dealers and specialists in a variety of different product lines. You're going to see 16,000 feet of the largest showroom in San Diego for doors and windows. We have a magnificent space here, much larger than any other dealer in the area, which makes it very comfortable for our customers to see and feel the windows in person. What you need to know about your project, we're going to ask questions about that. We're going to ask about your lifestyle, perhaps whether you have children or pets, which direction the doors and windows are facing. Do you have a view? Is it about opening space? We want to ask these questions to best service you and provide an overall great experience. People find these things beneficial because we can address perhaps threshold conditions, screen conditions, wall depths, colors, anything else that's important to the project prior to ordering, ensuring, again, complete satisfaction in the long run.
Give us a call or visit us online at PriorityDW.com.
At the Barnes firm, we're seeing more pedestrian and bicycle accidents. Drivers are rolling through red lights, and distracted driving makes every intersection a danger zone for pedestrians. Look both ways when crossing, even if you have the right of way.
Welcome back. This is Scott Kaplan and Crew Tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM ESPN Radio. SoCal Sports Talk. Here's Scott Kaplan, John Browner, and Alex Padilla.
Great friends, this is Kaplan and Crew with Grande and the Brown Man from the 7 Mile Casino Studios, 7milecasino.com. We are back on the air. Today is January 3rd. It is Tuesday. And little did we know, as we come on the airwaves of 1090, as we come on the stream of YouTube, tonight we'll be on television on Channel 4 San Diego and part of the Cox YourView Network as we stream on all the audio podcast platforms. Little did we know last evening that our first show of the new year would have such a somber mood to it. I'm telling you, fellas, guys, I planned on coming on today and going, could you believe what happened in the Holiday Bowl? Did you see the finish of the Sun Bowl? Did you catch what happened last night or 2 nights ago it was yesterday morning in the Cotton Bowl? Did you see the college football playoffs?
Weren't you in Mammoth?
You know what, Alex? I was in Mammoth. I got to
watch everything.
I'll tell you a quick story. So I was in Mammoth on Monday of last week. Christmas Day was Sunday, right? That sound right? Christmas Day, Sunday? I'm trying to do the math in my head of when each day was. Was Christmas Day Sunday? Okay.
Yes.
So Christmas Day was Sunday. The next morning, we took off for Mammoth. Let me tell you, no problem. Smooth sailing, no traffic, holiday, the whole deal. 6 hours. Awesome. Got up to Mammoth, and the weather wasn't very good. It was already like snowing and raining and windy. So Wednesday, Thursday were pretty good days of skiing, but I'm telling you, the weather was rough, really rough, and the winds were howling, and it was cold, and the snow was coming down. It was rainy and slush. I mean, each day it was changing hour by hour. On Friday morning, we woke up, and my 4 kids were going to drive home, and 2 of our kids, my daughter and Rachel's son, were going to fly home. And so all 6 kids were leaving, and we were going to spend the weekend, and we were actually going to drive home yesterday. But on Friday morning, when the National Weather Service started to put out reports like, dude, it's going to get gnarly and be prepared to hunker down, Rachel and I were like, do we really want to send our 4 kids in one car, 2 kids on a plane on a flight that's likely going to get canceled? And then even if we send all 6 kids home, the grocery stores have been raided. We're going to be stuck inside. None of the slopes are really going to be open. You know what? Let's hustle up and let's pack everything up and let's get out of here together. So all 8 of us together on Friday morning at a moment's notice, we packed up our stuff and we hauled ass home. And it took about 7 hours to get home because we did hit traffic on Friday. But I got home on Friday, and then literally we watched the Holiday Bowl while we were up in Mammoth. But all the other bowl games, the Sun Bowl, I was listening to that game on the ride home between Pitt and UCLA. I don't know. Did you guys watch that? Was anybody watching college? You seen? I knew it. I don't blame you guys at all.
Dude, I don't think.
What are you doing?
Since I've started working at radio sports, I don't think I've watched as little of sports in the last 10 days, 11 days as I ever have in the last 12 years.
Funny that you say that, because I would be the same way. Like, I was literally off social media. I wasn't using a lot of social media for about a week. And then on Friday on the way home, I wanted to listen to the Sun Bowl. I was planning on watching it. I listened to it on the radio. Then between the Sun Bowl, which I only was watching because it was Pitt UCLA, which was an insane game. I don't know if you guys heard about how it all ended, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. Then the college football playoff games on New Year's Eve, which was this past Sunday. Does that sound right? Sunday or Saturday? I don't know. Dude, I'm having a hard time figuring out which day was which.
I don't even know what day
today's
today
Tuesday.
Is.
Is it though?
Yeah, it is. I think, unless you believe that we're living in a simulation, which my son has been trying to convince me since he came home from college. But seriously, like, the college football playoff games were insanity. TCU, right on, way to go, pull the upset. And then the later game between Ohio State and Georgia was crazy. And then yesterday, you guys tell me, did you watch the Cotton Bowl? Did you guys watch the Rose Bowl yesterday?
I watched one bowl game. I watched USC fumble the last 2 possessions and lose to Tulane.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I have zero interest. And I only found it because my phone was going off because somebody who I know has a kid on the team. So no thanks.
Yeah, well, normally I'm with you. I'm in the no thanks category because all these college bowl games are so meaningless. Right. But I'm telling you, I watched the Holiday Bowl, which had an insane finish. I watched the Sun Bowl, also craziness. The 2 college playoff games, amazing. And then yesterday, the way Tulane beat USC, incredible. I didn't watch much of the Rose Bowl. I mean, I know what happened last night. I was watching a little bit of it. So I thought, we're going to get back on the air. And this is the wildest bowl season that I've ever watched, because it's probably the first bowl season that I've watched in probably 10 years. Seriously, because who watches bowl games anymore? Unless your school's in it, nobody watches them.
Can I ask a question, since you're the bowl expert around here this year?
I am today.
Did they stop playing defense? Like, whatever happened to dominate? Like, Georgia's supposed to have the best defense in college football, according to what I've read. 40 points? 40 points?
I think once Alabama started scoring 30, 40 points a game, I think pretty much all of college football is like, okay, we got to do this now. Because Alabama used to have such a dominant defense in the early 2010s that you would just be like, we have to play defense. It's an SEC style of football. And then Nick Saban's like, you know what? We could probably win championships like scoring 50. And now I think literally every school can now score 40 plus a game.
Listen, I'll just tell you guys this right now.
Gross.
I know you didn't watch these
I mean, I
games.
love it.
I know you didn't watch these games, but I'm telling you right now, between the Holiday Bowl, the Sun Bowl, the 2 college football playoff games, and the Cotton Bowl, these are like 5 of the most exciting college football games that I had seen. And while I acknowledge that most people are like you two guys and probably missed most of it. Now, look, a lot of people listening were like, no, I was tuned in for the Holiday Bowl because it was in San Diego.
It looked
First
great
time
on
in Texas.
TV, by the way.
Actually, I got to be honest with you. Looked terrible on TV, in my
You
opinion.
didn't like it? I liked it.
Dude, the field was a disaster.
Oh, I didn't watch that close.
Oh, dude, it was as blatant. Everybody could see it for themselves. In fact, the game.
Well, it rained here. We don't know what to do.
So
when it
Oregon, in the last seconds of the game, Oregon scores a touchdown. They tie the game. The kid comes in to kick the extra point, but he's in this mud pile. And me and my son are like, this is no guarantee. Kid hits the left upright with the extra point. The ball bounces in. Good. And Oregon wins by a point. I wonder if the Padres will say, we don't ever want to have this game here again. Looked like crap on TV, field destroyed, couldn't really get the grass to be where the infield is, move it to Snapdragon. I mean, I wonder that. But I'm just here to tell you guys that I thought that today's show and the beginning of today's show would be, wow, what a weekend of college bowl games. Wow, what a weekend of crazy performances in the NBA. I mean, Donovan Mitchell scores 70 plus.
We don't got to talk about that.
Well, I'm just saying that there were amazing performances. You know, Klay Thompson scores 50 plus. LeBron on his 38th birthday scored almost 50. I mean, there were crazy sports performances this past weekend. And then when you got to the NFL yesterday, and there were all kinds, 2 days ago, you had all kinds of things going on. You know, my Twitter timeline was filled with with like 3 or 4 Charger fans telling me how great the Chargers are now and how I'm going to eat my words and my Charger hater club card should be torn up and, you know, jump back on the bandwagon, all these. And I'm just like, no, I've seen the movie before. Just wait. It'll
come on back. Come on back, player. Both of y'all are welcome. Come on back, dog.
I'm good.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Ooh, they looking good right now. And healthy.
Right now, especially like in a preseason game against the Rams, they're looking real good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. How'd Aaron Donald play in that game?
Hey, listen, man, you got to be who on the field, baby.
Yeah, I'm just saying. How'd Matthew Stafford play in that game?
Again, you got to be your hero. Baker Mayfield played though.
How about Cooper Kupp? How'd he play?
Hey, the system survived without him.
Mm-hmm. So all I'm saying is that the Chargers beating up on the Rams in what is essentially a glorified preseason game doesn't do much for me.
Come on, dog. We back, baby. That's all. We back. We
back
about to
from
win
where?
out. We about to win out. We about to win out. We were being counted out. We're like, oh, y'all done. Oh, y'all not gonna make playoffs. Same old Chargers. This is what they do. I told y'all, this is her boat now. This ain't Phillip Rivers. This is her boat, dog. This is her boat.
Okay.
We're gonna win out.
Okay, we'll see. So
Get that fifth seed, go beat Jacksonville in Jacksonville. Then we rolling.
Okay.
Then we rolling.
Yeah, I'm really confident that there won't be any rolling. I'm super confident.
All right.
Super confident. But see, this is what I'm saying is that between all the college bowl games that were
also your boy Tua sucks again.
Who sucks again?
Tua.
Well, he didn't play.
Hey, listen, best ability is availability, baby.
Yeah, well, listen, don't get crazy. I mean, your Chicago Bears got blasted this past weekend.
That's all right. That's all right. On our way to the number 1 pick.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I guess my point is that did you guys at least watch the college football playoff games? Did you watch the TCU?
No.
You really didn't watch the playoff games?
No.
Really?
No.
It's New Year's Eve. It's the worst. I don't know why
Terrible
they put these
idea.
games on days where I'm going to be out of the house. Like they only got 20 million each game got 20.
Those are the same people,
like,
by the way.
That's really good.
Yeah, probably because I was watching.
Like that's really good, but come on, man. Like that's a terrible day to be playing these.
Well,
games.
I guess my point is here's what I was trying to get at.
You got a month.
Yeah.
You're gonna put it on that day.
Being January 3rd, today being our first day back on the air after a really nice extended break. All I'm getting at is I thought today we would have so many incredible sports stories to discuss based on amazing games and amazing performances. Little did I know, sitting down to watch Monday Night Football last night, again, think about this. The Bengals against the Bills. One game separates those two in the standings. throw in Kansas City, and it's really a 3-team race for who's going to get the number 1 seed in the AFC. You have a battle of Joe Burrow, who's already been to a Super Bowl, and Josh Allen, who a lot of people think is the best young quarterback in the NFL.
Is Mahomes young?
Yeah, Mahomes is young, but he's already been to and won a Super Bowl.
Okay.
So I kind of consider him in a different category.
Okay.
Hey, listen, throw my boy Kenny Pickett into this mix now.
Oh,
all of a
throw him
sudden,
where into it? Throw him where into it?
as one of the young up-and-coming star quarterbacks of the league. I mean, the
Come on,
plays that
guy.
he made. Come on, dude. Did you watch the game Did you watch that Baltimore game on Sunday night?
I watched the last 2 possessions. I didn't watch the whole
Then
game.
that's
I watched
all
the
you
last 2
needed to see.
possessions.
Then
That's
that's
what
all
I'm-
you needed to see.
Come on, guy.
Come on, guy. Come
You
on, guy.
dogging Justin Fields, but you gonna tell me Kenny Pickett is up and coming? Gotcha.
Well,
We're
dude,
on the same
Justin
page.
Fields. I'm not down on Justin Fields. I mean, listen, the guy. There's very few quarterbacks in the NFL. He may be the best overall running quarterback, maybe playing right now, or at least top 3, 4. But yeah, but Kenny
really good
Pickett.
running back.
I mean, Kenny, you talk about leadership, and you talk about making clutch plays in critical situations. All I'm saying is, I thought today was going to be a day about amazing games, incredible performances, and the things that we saw while we were away. And little did we know that last night we were going to see something that none of us have ever seen in our lives before, which is a player, an NFL player, a second-year guy, a 24-year-old kid, collapse on the field, have to be revived on the field, be taken off the field in an ambulance, and have a game be stopped. And now, just by the way, this is earlier in the day, the NFL did release a statement about what they're going to do with this game, because I know a lot of people were offended last night when people were on Twitter. This is why I stayed off last night. I mean, I was following, but I wasn't saying anything. A lot of people were offended last night when people were asking the question, well, what happens to this game? It's a huge game. It's a monster game. The standing, everything is involved here. This is very, very, very important to the season. Alex, take us through what the NFL reported earlier today.
Yeah, after speaking with both teams and NFLPA leadership, Commissioner Roger Goodell informed the clubs today that the Bengals game will not be resumed this week. The NFL has made no decision regarding the possible resumption of the game at a later date. The league has not made any changes to the Week 18 regular season schedule.
Yeah, I couldn't help myself, but I had to go look it up to see who was playing when. And I think both Cincinnati and Buffalo are playing in the early window on Sunday. So last night's Monday. Today is Tuesday. You can't play the game today, Wednesday, or the next day, Thursday, and then expect these guys to play again on Sunday. You can't do it. They can.
Yeah, I'd say my understanding, like the Bengals don't even have a scheduled time yet.
Right.
I think they might have been scheduled to play Saturday.
It's a tie, man. It doesn't hurt anyone, does it, to just say the game's a tie? No one loses. It's a tie. You cannot play this game. You can't do it.
Game can't be played. I mean,
you can't do it.
No, they're.
But you also what are you going to give the Bills a loss?
No, that's what I'm saying. It's a tie. It's
Right.
a tie. No one gets anything due to the circumstances in which the game was delayed on. You can't then come back and play the game due to the time frame in which it's in, and the circumstances. Like the guy might die. Like we are trying to be as sensitive as we can about the subject, but the reality is the guy might die, and you're going to go play a football game in which a guy basically lost his life on the field.
Right, but then the next part of that is what happens to these two teams, and in particular Buffalo thereafter, because Buffalo is still expected this Sunday to play against New England, and Buffalo is headed toward the playoffs. And look, let's hope pray
he lives.
Let's hope he lives, and let's hope
Yes.
he lives a good life hereafter.
Yes,
forget
I agree.
about I hope he comes back and plays. Forget about that nonsense.
Right.
Hopefully the kid lives, and
Yes.
hopefully the kid has a good life thereafter. But for the Bills, and I'm just thinking about this from a football perspective, based on what their record was, if you give them a tie and you give the Bengals a tie, it doesn't really hurt, but it doesn't really help. And if you're the Bengals, on one hand, I know you're going to be ultra sensitive, But aren't you also like, but wait, if we would have won that game, our record would have been this, their record would have been that, Kansas City's record would be this, Kansas City's got to play against this. I mean, home field advantage, this is why a lot of people, I think, jumped to the conclusion last night, like, well, what are they going to do about the game? Listen, I know it was offensive to some people out there, that people had an immediate reaction, like, well, what are they going to do? But I can tell you guys this, and hard to believe, 22 years ago, I remember on September 11th, 2001, when the planes hit the World Trade Center and the buildings were smoking and flaming. I remember looking across the studio at Billy Ray and I said, how are they going to get up there and fix that? Like, that's where my mind went. Like, how are they going to get up there and fix that thing, man? And then all of a sudden the buildings came crumbling down, and fixing it wasn't really an issue. Fixing this game, not really that big of an issue in the bigger scheme of things,
A tie doesn't hurt anyone.
And that's what's
both teams. Yeah, both teams get zero out of it. It's a tie. The game technically never happened. It doesn't hurt you in the standings. Everyone is idle, and go for it, man. Go for it. I agree with you. The Bills' next game is what I would be more worried about, because if its condition isn't cleared up by the time of their next game, do they play? I mean, they're still in the playoffs. If they don't play, the Patriots need that game more than the Bills do. Like, that's tough, man.
I mean, we've never really seen a forfeit in the NFL that I can ever think of. Hey, we can't play this game. You guys win. We take the loss. Doesn't really change things. We're in the postseason, whatever.
Right.
But again, I think that it's hard to look. You've had a little bit of time, less than 24 hours to take this all in. The main thing, and I don't mean to sound like phony about this in the slightest bit, because I actually think I'm more impacted today than I was last night. The main thing is, you said it, Browner, not to be overly dramatic. We don't know if this kid's going to live.
Correct.
And if he does live, is there major brain damage? Forget about speculating. I just hope the kid is okay, because I'll tell you, man, I honestly, I knew his career at the University of Pittsburgh. Obviously, that's my school. I follow it. So I knew his name. I knew his career. But to today, and I've read a lot about him since, he's a local Western PA kid. He chose to stay home and go to college. Went to the same high school that Dan Marino went to, could have gone to Ohio State, could have gone to Penn State, could have gone to the bigger, better conference, could have gone to the more name brand schools, et cetera, but stayed close to home and was an important part. It was like the captain of their defense. And to see a kid who, is from, again, my school, my brotherhood, if you will. I don't know the young man. I'm just saying there's a connection. I'm so sad for the kid. I'm so sad. And today, honestly, I'm hearing a lot of radio shows. Everybody's interviewing people. And I thought, man, we could call this guy and we could call that guy from the Bills and people I know. I didn't even really want to do that. I mean, now some medical expertise I would take,
Right. But I'm not an emotional person. I mean, when it comes to expressing myself, I am. I got sad. I had tears in my eyes when I was reading that they were giving that kid CPR on the field, man. And then when the ambulance came out, I was like, go faster. I was genuinely sad. I was dead sad about last night, man.
And when the ambulance waited for his parents to get in, I thought, that could be really bad news. I didn't.
Yeah, man.
Your mind just wanders. What does that mean? They're waiting for the parents. Well, if there's a chance to save them, they got to haul ass. They can't wait. Maybe that's
what I said.
I know.
I was watching the game with a medical professional, and they said at that point, if you're giving him CPR and you took him off the field and he was not responsive, he was not awake. Again, that person didn't know. I don't know. We are people watching it on television. They said a lot of that was probably for show, because from a medical expert's opinion, if that person would have to be revived on the spot, there's no way you're taking them somewhere that slowly. At that point, everything needs to be moved expediently.
Right. All right. Hold that thought.
You're watching Kaplan and Crew Tonight, powered by the mightier 1090 AM, ESPN Radio, and Your View, featuring the best sports talk in SoCal.
Locally owned and operated, not some bland, uninspired, corporate, cookie-cutter radio station crap. We simply say to those stations, Q. The mightier 1090 ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports Talk.
Priority Doors and Windows off Miramar Road is San Diego's largest door and window showroom open to the public. We specialize in quality, custom, and unique doors and windows for every style of home. Priority Doors and Windows offers excellent service and selection with windows by top manufacturers like Fleetwood, La Cantina, Milgard, and more. For the highest value at competitive prices, come visit our showroom off Miramar Road. Just look for San Diego's largest flag or visit us online at PriorityDW.com.
Hola, I'm JR Cardenas.
And I'm Vanessa Ramirez.
We're the hosts for Subida, where we showcase California restaurants, music,
art, culture, and so much more.
We would love to talk to you about featuring your business on our show.
Yes, and as an added bonus, you get to keep the professional video segment to repurpose and use on your website or social media channels.
Please click on the link below to get more information about how to put your business on Subida.
We hope to hear from you soon.
When you're in pain, you need physical therapy that works, but you want to feel safe during these times. At La Mesa Rehab, your health is our business. We screen each patient, provide masks, and constantly sanitize our private individual treatment areas so you can focus on healing. The foundation of our physical therapy is education. Our therapists care and guide you through the healing process. Ask your doctor about La Mesa Rehab.
The best care you can have at La Mesa Rehab.
When doors open for kids, they change lives. For over 75 years, the Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater San Diego has been opening its doors to provide a safe place for kids whenever they are out of school. A place with caring mentors and opportunities to focus on academic success, healthy lifestyles, and character building. At the club, we do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid that walks through our doors by inspiring, empowering, and changing lives.
If you're going to count yourself as a fan of this radio station, you'll need to continuously ask yourself one basic question. Am I listening enough? Pro tip, wives are not a good source for input on this. This is the mightier 1090 AM ESPN Radio.
Many are adding companion units or ADUs to bring more value to their homes. Our experience, plus our strong relationship with the city, makes adding on easier for our homeowners.
We listen to you first, then design and build. Visit murraylambert.com for your consultation.
At Shelter to Soldier, being a private nonprofit, we rely on the community. Thankfully, we have sponsors like the Barnes firm that get behind us.
We understand the difficulties that many of our veterans face when they come back into civilian life. And this program just seemed like the perfect fit.
Today we're catching up with Barney. He is now in our matching phase of our program. He is meeting eligible veterans in what we call speed dating.
How's it going?
So we have just recently approved 5 new veterans for our program. So Barney will be meeting every single one of them to see if he is the perfect match for them.
Barney's perfect date would be a nice long walk on the beach, and then he would like to end the night with a nice dinner with his veteran.
We got to find the right person for the right dog.
Hey, great friends, it's Scott Kaplan here, and I want you to come check out our new TV show. It's called Kaplan and Crew Tonight, every Monday through Friday at 7 o'clock right here. Now, look, it's the best of the radio show from earlier that day on the mightier 1090, and we've been doing it for 20 years, so now we're expanding the way we talk about sports and the way we can be heard and viewed.
Kaplan and Crew Tonight. Be a part of the crew. Weeknights from 7 to 8 p.m. on Your View.
Music helps connect everyone. This concert is an amazing opportunity. Mayor Bill Wells and Banding Together will be here, and it's a time for people to sit back, relax, dance, sing, and to have fun, and for all of us to get together. And it's going to be a great night.
for joining us. Catch Scott Kaplan and crew tonight from 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific every Monday through Friday. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and crew show on the mightier 1090 AM. ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports Talk.
Welcome to Sports Stars of Tomorrow, the show that introduces you to the country